Yeah, welcome to Big 12 basketball. Um, you know, I think at the end of the day, we just got beat tonight, and I don't want to make it sound so simple, but um, the other day Tech won a game by a much larger margin, and I didn't think we competed for 40 minutes in a way that was necessary to really give us a chance. So I was more disappointed that I felt like in some ways we kind of let go of the rope about quarter into the second half, and it got really far away from us. Now you say he lost by 14 tonight, but I thought defensively we did a lot of really good things. We forced 20 turnovers. We hold them to less than 40% shooting, and we hold our own on the glass against what I think is the best offensive rebounding team in the country. Derek Culver had 36 rebounds in 2 games against us last year and looked like the best rebounder in the country, and now he's the second best rebounder on his own team. And that says a lot about who they are and the type of inside presence they have. So credit to them. They beat us, but I am also really excited about what I saw from our team in terms of their competitive fight for 40 minutes. I told our team we've got the right people in the locker room. At some point, we're going to shoot better. When you can't score 40 and 50 and win consistently in the Big 12. Just not realistic. So we have to find a way to get more rhythm offensively and make more shots, and that will happen if we continue to fight defensively the way we did tonight. I like what I think can happen for this team over the next 2.5 months.
I know DeZaga was out, but you guys have been a pretty good three-point shooting team. Have you ever been a part of a game where you shoot 5% from beyond the arc?
No. Well, yeah. I think it wasn't our team though. We actually were the winning team. I think Ole Miss actually shot the same thing against us when we played them. And I was hoping I never had to feel the way Coach Davis fed after that game, but I know exactly what it feels like now. Yeah, I really thought that shooting would be a strength for this team coming into the year with the personnel we had and just the history of the guys. And it just hasn't played out that way for whatever reason. And it's our job to figure out a way to get a better rhythm. So, yeah, it's concerning that we haven't really shot it well consistently all year other than Lindy and Thomas. Not having Thomas didn't help, but it certainly – I thought we got good looks and just didn't make them. And sometimes that happens, and when it doesn't and you're playing against a really good defensive team who doesn't give you anything in the paint, it's going to be a hard night. You know, we go 12 for 20 from the free throw line. We're pretty good free throw shooting teams. Just the psychological effect over time. It all catches up. They make you work so hard to get a stop and secure a defensive rebound. And then they're physical, and they make you work so hard to pass it and to drive it and to get a good look. Sometimes you just don't have enough to get over the top. So I want to give them some credit, but again, what I saw from Avery Anderson, what I saw from Caleb Boone, the fight that I saw in Lindy and Cam for the most part, even though neither one of them shot it well, is something that gives me a lot of optimism.
At what point did you know Thomas was going to miss this game with the flu? And then was that an immediate decision to bring
No, I
him?
mean, it's just kind of been par for the course this year. I didn't know till this afternoon. He wasn't feeling great this weekend, but kind of fought through, and he practiced yesterday. Obviously, it was our one-day prep. He wasn't great, but, got a text this afternoon from our trainer that he was going to be out. So it's not an excuse. Again, it's part of the deal. We play a winter sport. It happens. We're not the only team with a guy who's sick right now. We just have to deal with it.
What have you seen in Big 12 play from the freshmen that have had to play minutes for different reasons or just being thrust into those roles? It's obviously a different brand of basketball, and I don't think Caleb Boone's ever seen guys that big. I mean, Avery Anderson's getting guarded by 6'7" point guard. I mean, just take through what your kind of thoughts are of that accumulation of guys?
Yeah, I liked what I saw. First of all, we practiced and tried to simulate the atmosphere last Thursday, right? But it was in an empty gym against their teammates, and at least psychologically, I felt like it gave us a little bit of an edge. And obviously, it didn't work out that way. We didn't play as well as I hoped we would on Saturday. But Avery Anderson's progress, in my mind, has been pretty evident. Now, he still has turnovers every now and then that make you scratch your head, but that's part of the process with a freshman point guard. What I see in his ability long term is something I think everyone should be really excited about, because he's not going to continue to make those plays over time. And he's as competitive as anybody I've ever coached. And he's competitive in the right way. It's not selfish. It's not for him to look good. He wants to win. And I think he's got a bloody nose and a kind of a black eye. I think he took a hit a couple times today. But that kid's about the right things, and it's going to be a big part of what we do moving forward. Caleb Boone's been a little bit more up and down. I didn't know how much I could play him today, but obviously yours struggled, and I wanted to just give him a shot. He brought great energy and passion to the game as well. He's going to continue to get better. Those guys just have to get accustomed to every night is like this. And that's what's different for them, right? They may have to get up for a game or two during their high school season. But in this league, when we're off after tomorrow, we're off. We got to prepare like we're going to play this game again on Saturday, because it's going to be very similar. And that's what takes the most adjusting, is that every single night it's like a literally like a 18-round boxing match it's a heavyweight deal too now. And right now we look like kind of middle heavyweights, I guess, if that's a class. And we're playing against the real heavyweights the first two rounds here. And the bad news is we're 0-2. The good news is there's a lot more basketball left for this team.
Coach, you always kind of struggled those two games. So what goes into that, and how you try to fix that moving forward?
He's got to own his part in it. They obviously had multiple big physical bodies to throw at him, and that's part of the reason I started Jonathan, is to kind of bring a bigger, more physical presence to the rebounding aspect, and I thought that was a little bit effective. It didn't help us make any shots. But as far as yours, he just got to get back to playing free and confident. Right now it seems like a guy who feels pressure, and our job is to make sure that he understands that what he brings to our team is really important, and we need him to play his best, and he hasn't played his best. But at the same time, those other guys have to continue to get better, so that when he's not good, that they can step in and do what Caleb did tonight, was bring great positive energy to our team.
And when you're in the thick of it with a shooting night like this, how do you help them? How do you minimize the psychological stuff that goes on when you're having a shooting night like that in the middle of a game?
I don't know. I don't know if I've been coaching long enough to figure that part out. Here's what I will say. Confidence comes from work, all right? And what we have to figure out is, are we working hard enough to feel confident that we're going to make them in the game? And that was my message to our team. I thought we got good looks, but I don't know if the guys were shooting it with the level of confidence that they know they've been really working at it. It's one of the reasons that I feel good about what we can become, because I have no doubt that every day I bring everything I have. And eventually, I believe work wins. And so we just got to work a little bit harder. We got to dig down a little bit deeper, spend a little bit more time at it, and the results will start to change. Again, I told our team, if we continue to defend like that, we held them to 55. That should be good enough. You can't score 41 and win in this league. You just can't. You got to probably try to get in the 60s or 70s most nights. And if you hold a team to 55, that should be pretty good. And that's what gives me confidence, right? So it's the first time that we've held somebody under 60 and lost. Our defense has had its identity again tonight. And so I'm not going to focus so much on the offensive end, because I believe that's individual. Guys have to just work themselves through that. Our coaches have to continue to encourage them to do that. But again, I feel like if we defend the way we did tonight, and play with the competitive stamina that we did for 40 minutes, we're going to win more than we lose in the next 16 games.
Sure how much you were going to be able to play Caleb tonight, and he didn't get in the first half. A couple weeks ago, you said he wasn't practicing particularly well. Is that kind of the same reasoning?
Yeah, it's just inconsistent, and it's not his fault. Like, I love that kid. He's going to be a really good player for a long time for us. He loves everything about being a part of this program. He just doesn't know yet how hard it is to become a really good player at this level, and that's our job. It is very, very normal. I think what's happened is there's been enough guys now who've come in as freshmen that have had immediate impacts that we think that that's fairly normal, when really it isn't. We've just seen a really long stretch of guys who've come in, and it's only been 3 or 4 out of 4,000 or 5,000 guys. But we see them all the time, and we hear about all the numbers they put up. And then you have a stretch in this league where you got Beasley and Durant and Griffin, and you're like, man, if they're highly touted freshmen, they must be able to come in and get 26 and 12 like Beasley did his freshman year. No, most guys can't do that as seniors. That's why those guys were playing in the NBA, making a lot of money. But back to Caleb, he's going to become a really good player. He has to learn what it takes to become that consistently, and it comes in practice every day.
Do you think the Isaac secret is kind of out? Teams are putting their best defender on him now, whenever last year that might not necessarily always be the case. He had a 6'7" guy on him today.
Yeah, no, I mean, not a lot of people have 6-7 point guards that can guard them. Let's be honest. I think part of what we're dealing with is what I tried to warn him against, and everybody. He missed November. He played a game on November 29th and did not play again until December 29th. He's got to get back in rhythm. And he didn't play particularly well tonight. Maybe I should have took him out earlier, but he's got to work through that. He's our guy. I mean, I'm not turning my back on that kid. He's given us everything he has for a year and a half, and he'll find his rhythm again. And I know him well enough to say that no one cares more about trying to perform well for his teammates than he does. And he's going to take personal ownership of this, and he'll continue to get better. It's just a matter of practicing consistently, seeing those things happen in real time, and then getting back comfortable with being a really, really good two-way guard for us.
We talked about it a little bit earlier, but how much of that will help when Isaac gets into his rhythm?
Yeah, I think that'll help. I think they both just have they got different things going on. Ice is dealing with just overcoming just the lack of consistent practice time and all that stuff, and game reps and all that. And yours dealing just physically trying to defend big physical guys inside, and we're asking him to do more offensively. So we just need to let him go out and play free. He doesn't need to feel pressure. First, we got to start making shots. That'll help everybody. That'll help everybody. That's just, I mean, let's call it what it is. We're shooting, you know, I never imagined this team wouldn't shoot better than it has over 14, is it 14 games now? And I hope that, you know, those guys will look at their own numbers. I mean, there's no hiding it. We got a bunch of guys not shooting as well as we hoped they would, and we got to find a way to get our confidence back from a shooting standpoint.
You got to believe that it's a streak thing? Maybe you can get one game going? And
I believe there's something to that, right? I do believe that, you know, if Avery's three counts in the first half, I don't remember what the score was at the time, but I think there was pretty good positive energy in the building. Maybe Lindy's next one goes in. It happens both ways, you know, and it could snowball on you in a bad way, and it seems to have tonight. But at the same time, it only takes one game or maybe two, and you get the right guys, the right amount of shots, and I think averages will play themselves out over the course of a season.
you were kind of egging on it too. I saw you about half court, slapping the court, stuff like that.
Yeah, what I wanted to do is, I think the other day, us not making shots affected us on the defensive end. And I was really trying to guard against, you know, having those breakdowns offensively. They stepped up and made some shots. They got to the free throw line and made them. And obviously they just got two horses inside. And it's, you know, everybody talks about nobody plays in the paint. Nobody's told Bob Huggins that.
He said the team wasn't physical enough.
His team. He gets to decide that.
Is this as physical a game you've coached in, do you think, so far?
Yeah, probably. Again, I mean, just personnel. I mean, just look out there. You just look out there, and they're monsters, man. And our kids fought. They battled. I mean, we were only -4 on the glass, which is it's pretty good. They had 21 offensive rebounds on Saturday against who I think is the second biggest team in our league on the road in Lawrence on Saturday. And, I think Oscar had 7 of them himself, or 8. Yeah, he had 8 offensive and 9 defense. He had 17 rebounds. They had 29 rebounds between the two of them. So, yeah, that's where it starts. And then they just throw it inside, and they literally catch the ball. And you can't double team them because the double team can't get there fast enough at the 1 foot mark. You got to have somebody that can either stop them from scoring by themselves, or you got to stop it from getting in there.
Hitty didn't have the greatest night statistically, but he was able to get down there and bang. I doubt he's played against guys like that before in his life. Just
None of those guys have. I mean, this was like it wasn't even a basketball game in his mind. They don't play basketball like that. Like, he just goes around and it was a physical game both ways. We tried to match their physicality, and I thought for the most part our kids did respond to that challenge. But in his mind, it was like, wow, this is really different. So, but it was different for Caleb. It was different for Avery. Probably different for Jonathan in a lot of ways.
Lindy scored 1,000 points.
It's a great accomplishment, man. Seniors are a big deal to me, and those guys are going to give us a chance to have a really, really good season. I'm more excited now than I was after we played Southeastern Louisiana. No disrespect to them, because we had to fight tonight to give ourselves a chance, and we did. So I know that we can. If we shoot our average tonight, we're having a different conversation. I don't know if we win, but it looks different. We shot well below. I mean, if we shoot 30%, man, maybe we're talking about having to execute a play late in the game. And a lot of that is because Lindy and Cam and Thomas, because he practiced yesterday, didn't allow Saturday to affect our preparation for this game. It wasn't me. It was those guys. I tried to talk to them about it in the locker room, but by the time I showed up on Sunday for practice, those guys were pretty locked in on trying to get ourselves our first win today. And again, you can't do that if you don't have the right messaging going on inside your locker room with your players internally. So his 1,000 points has been earned, should be celebrated. Unfortunately, it came in a loss, but I'm really, really proud of what he's accomplished.
Thomas is pretty vocal in practice. If you don't have him in practice this week, just say, how are you intrigued to see how he picks up that slack?
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't think that'll be a big challenge. We're off tomorrow because NCAA tells me I have to, and we'll see. I don't know how. I don't think it's a long-term deal at all. At least, certainly hope that he's back sooner than later. So if he's back in practice, then he'll bring the energy. If not, then again, I feel pretty confident knowing Ice that he's ready to accept the challenge of playing better for his team.
TCU on Saturday, we've talked about it all throughout this press conference. He didn't shoot it well. Do you mix it up in practice? Do you change something, do something differently? Just kind of, like he was saying, it can be a streaky thing at times. Is there something that you look at, analyze, and change?
Yeah, I don't want to contradict myself here, because shooting in practice is different from shooting in a game. But I do believe that you shoot confidently in games because of how hard you've worked before that. So I don't know if we'll structure practice differently. We'll work on offensive execution and trying to make sure we're getting the right guys the shots that they need. And again, I believe Lindy's like a career high 30, low 40% three-point shooter. If I get him 9 threes on Saturday, he's not going to make one of them. He's going to make 4 or 5 of them, and that's what we'll focus on, making sure we're getting the right shots to the right guys. Again, every game in this league is different. I haven't watched TCU at all. I saw a little bit of the end of their game because they went to overtime against Iowa State Saturday. So saw a little bit of that game, but haven't really studied them. Don't know what we're going to need to do, but we got 3 days. Luckily, when you play on Monday, you got a little bit more time to kind of prepare for the next one, and we'll take advantage of that.